Hello, I'm Alex. Very nice to meet you. I work for Muddy Story and I am preparing the materials about history and culture that you study about. How did you like your virtual trip to Toksogun? Let me tell you, when I first came to Korea, Toksogun was my second palace that I visited. I went in pretty much alone, without any guide, looking around, and I was disappointed. I mean, it's the same like Gyeongbokgung, but smaller and a bit like eh. This was because I did not know anything about the story of Toksogun. It's very important that you can link a story to buildings to really appreciate them. Now, I will ask your help. Let us go back to Toksogun and talk a bit about the stories behind this palace. Are you ready? Good, let's do it. First of all, I really want you to help me find an answer to the question I had back then when I came to Korea. Why would people build Toksogun? Yeah? They already had Gyeongbokgung. They already had Changdeokgung. Why would anyone build Toksogun? Okay, let's see. If I remember well, King Kojong, the last king and the first emperor of Korea, originally lived in Gyeongbokgung, right? That is until the October of 1851 when something happened. But what? I mean, what could chase a king away from his own palace? Do you know what happened that day? Yes, the Ulmi incident happened. In Korean, we call it Ulmisabyong. What was this incident? One night, on October 8, 1851, a band of Japanese assassins broke into the palace. How did they get in? Actually, part of the Korean Royal Guard, which was trained by Japanese, opened the door for them. They rushed in with weapons, knives, and swords, searching for someone. They were searching for the queen. They captured her and killed her on the spot. This horrible incident even has a witness who was not even Korean. It was a Russian gentleman called Sabatin. At that time, he was the guest of King Kojong and he was sleeping in the palace. Luckily for you, I found his journal and now I will read you the part that he wrote about this fateful night. Are you ready? Okay. This is what Mr. Sabatin wrote. The courtyard was filled with Japanese, perhaps as many as 20 or 25 men. They were dressed in peculiar gowns and they were armed with sabers. While some Japanese were rummaging around every corner of the palace, others burst into the queen's wing and threw themselves upon the women they found there. I continued to observe the Japanese turning things inside out in the queen's wing. Two Japanese grabbed one of the court ladies, pulled her out of the house, and ran down the stairs, dragging her along behind them. Moreover, one of the Japanese repeatedly asked me in English, "Where is the queen? Point the queen out to us." While passing by the main throne hall, I noticed that it was surrounded shoulder to shoulder by a wall of Japanese soldiers and officers and Korean officials. But what was happening there was unknown to me. Thank you, Mr. Sabatin. The main point is, the wife of King Kojong was murdered that day. Kojong escaped the palace, partly being afraid about his own life and partly out of grief. Where would he go? He went to the Russian legation. What? You are asking what is a legation? Okay, legation is the same thing like embassy is today, meaning that it's the representative of another country in Korea. Now, because Kojong had very good relations with Russians, they accepted him into the legation. As it happened, the legation was very close to the place where Toksu-gung is now. So he moved there and made it the main palace. He also expanded it and made it much bigger. Now that we are talking about Kojong, there is something that bothers me a bit. Sometimes I hear people calling him King Kojong, and then other times I hear people calling him Emperor Kojong. So what was he? Okay, please, can you explain to me why is this? You don't know. You don't know? Okay, relax. Let's hear an explanation, okay? So the thing is, Kojong was a person who really wanted to make Korea modern and independent. What kind of country Korea was before Kojong? We call it the Choson Kingdom. Now we have to be sure that we know what the word emperor means in East Asia. Can you tell me which countries had emperors? Okay, yes, for example, China or Japan. This is the thing. In ancient East Asian beliefs like Confucianism, there could be only one person who was the true representative of heaven on earth. To say it very simply, there was only one son of heaven on the earth, and this was the Emperor of China. Everyone else was just a king or a lord, meaning an ordinary person who had some power, but they had to respect the Emperor of China. If anyone would say, I am an emperor as well, it means they are competing with China, so they are enemies. Before Joseon dynasty, even Korean kings called themselves emperors and did all the rituals that only emperors could do. However, as you know, Joseon became very close with China. Because of this, they agreed to be called simply kings, stop the rituals, and treat China as a kind of elder brother or big boss sometimes. But not Kojong. Not anymore. Kojong said, "이젠 He wanted to show that Korea is an independent country and it's not related in any way like a small brother to China. Because of this, he held a coronation, changed the country's name to Daehan Empire or Korean Empire, both are correct names, and himself to emperor. In Toksu-gung, we can see many signs of this change to an empire, like yellow color, which was the color of the emperor, usage of dragons instead of phoenixes, and so on. Also, there is a particular flower you will see everywhere. It's really cute and really symmetric. In Korean, we call it how? Yeah, oyakot. It's a plum flower that became a kind of national symbol of Daehan Empire. And then there is this. I mean, let me stop here for a while, okay? What is this? This looks just like any building in my country. As a matter of fact, my university in my hometown looks almost like this. What is a building like this doing in a Korean palace? Okay, I'm listening. Yes, you are very right. Kojong, as we said, was a king who really wanted to modernize the country. One way how he imagined this modernization was to invite advanced Western culture and technology. As you know, in the West there were many inventions this time which was not known in Asia, like electricity or trams, many things. So Kojong made sure that he's updated on each of these inventions very well. He invited people from Russia, from England, from America, from France. I could go on. And actually this building, which you call, yes, Sokjojon, was a place where the king sometimes lived, but he also received guests here, foreign guests. So, my little idea is, perhaps he made this Western style building for these guests to feel more comfortable and home when they were staying here. If you see this building and you go to a trip to Europe, you will notice that this is a very typical way how important buildings in Europe were built. The columns here and the big triangle in the front are typical parts of a European architecture that was influenced by ancient Greek and Roman architecture. And then there is this thing. This. Can you tell me what is this in the middle? What? Yeah, it's a fountain. This is something very unique in Korea. You see, in different countries of East Asia, there are places like temples or parks or gardens that contain waterfalls. However, these waterfalls have an interesting trait that the water always comes from the top down. Chinese, Korean, Japanese people, they believed that by the rules of nature, the water should always come from up down. So it was absolutely unthinkable for them to make something like this. A fountain where the water comes from down towards the sky. Now, let's move to another building, which is my favorite in a way. Why? Because it is a mix of Western and Eastern architecture. I'm talking about Cheongkwanhon. What was this building used for? Yes, this was the resting place for the king, who often accepted guests and foreign envoys here. Very good. This building was designed by Russian architect Sabatin. Do you remember him? Just a while ago, we heard about him. He is the gentleman who witnessed the murder of Queen Min. Now, if we look closer to this building, we can see that this is a mix of European and Korean architecture. Let me invite you to a bit of a hunt. We will be hunting elements of three things: East Asian architecture, European architecture, and Daehan Jaeguk symbols. Are you ready? Let's go. First, can you tell me where we can find some Korean elements in this building? Let's check this part, okay? The fence of this building has several important symbols for Korean architecture. Look, what is this? Yeah, that's a pine tree. How about this one here, just under the tree? Yeah, it's a deer. Pine tree, deer. Did you learn something about these? Yes, They are 2 out of the 10 symbols of longevity. There is another thing. Looky, look, here. What is this? It's a bat. Bat was a very, very important symbol in both Chinese and Korean culture. Why? Don't think too complicated, it's very easy. Actually, the Chinese word for bat and the Chinese word for blessing is pronounced the same. Fu. This would be the Korean pok. And because of this, people believe that bat could be a nice symbol for blessings. Okay, now let me ask you, where do you see some Western elements? Where? Let's go inside. Let's see. This doesn't look like the interior of a traditional Korean building at all. The stone pillars, the curtains, the chairs, everything, even the chandelier, is completely Western. The inside of Chongkwanhon is designed like a Western building. Now, let's go out and let's try to find what I called the Daehan Chaeguk element. Look close and tell me if you found it. Yeah, I'm sorry. You say green color? Oh no, sorry. You say bat? No. Oh yes, it's the flower. As I told you before, this flower, which is called oyakot or plum flower, was the national symbol of the Daehan Empire. Do you know why? Oh yeah, someone says it's because Emperor Kojong loved flowers. No. How about you? No? Nothing? Okay, I will tell you. The reason why Kojong chose this flower to be the symbol of the empire, because the Chinese name of the flower, Li, sounds the same as the name of the royal family. Interesting, right? Now, let me ask you, do you still think Deoksukgung is just a small copy of Gyeongbokgung? Because I don't think so anymore. I think this palace has a lot of interesting stories from a very, very eventful and also tragic part of Korean history. So please, if you ever visit the palace with your overseas friend, don't forget to tell them about the stories behind these buildings. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this small discussion about Deoksukgung. I did enjoy it. Unfortunately, now I have to go because I have a meeting with His Imperial Majesty Kojong, but I hope you will enjoy the day. Bye-bye!
Dog Story. Dialogue.
찹상.
Look over there. There are figures on the roof.
Ah, that is Japsang.
Japsang?
Yes. Buddhist priest Samjang is in front and Sonogong is behind. Then Jopalge, Saojong, Hechi, and finally Chomma.
Wow, it looks like a bodyguard.
Yeah. Japsang was made for the protection from bad spirits and disasters.
Oh, awesome. So much like the king's place.
Japsang was placed only in a palace or a government building.
That makes Japsang one of the symbols of the palace.